Welcome one, welcome all. If you came back this week, welcome to the last month of 2024. Last month of 2024. This thing's going out with a bang. So I am finishing up on this today. This is my do good or die trying version of this ballpark and stadium. Because this is the final build of this ballpark. There will be no more builds after this because I have basically gone through great lengths to try and make sure that this is probably one of the best builds, most accurate builds that you can possibly get out of this thing. And then I'm just going to move on and do what I got to do with other ballparks and stuff. But this is pretty much it. This is everything that needs to be done with this version of this ballpark. And I'm just going to just keep it like that. And I have gone back in. I've changed some things. I've reworked some things. The lag is obviously acting up here. But I've gone back in. I've changed some things. I've reworked some things to get the most optimum level of this that you can possibly find. And I'm at 96%. And it's a 96% that works. But this lag is going to mess me up. So I guess I got to exit out of this and go back into it. And so because this is music and this is going to be And so because this is music and because it's going to be copyrighted, if I don't do this, I'm just going to have to talk over and fill a gap for about the next 4 minutes. So I decided to go with the basically second to last version of Memorial Stadium that was built. So obviously the stadium itself had a built-in level of new had a new built-in level of towers and stuff that was utilized around the late 70s and early 80s. Memorial Stadium at the time of its at the time of it being built was subjected to the fact that they didn't have much space when it came to bathrooms and things such as that. So I am going to let me see if I can do one thing here, because there's one thing I would like to do I still haven't done, because there's three things I would like to have time to do, and hopefully this would be gracious enough to let me have it and let me do this. So what I want to do is I want to at least extend the I want to extend this. Hopefully I can. Hopefully it doesn't take much away. So to go into this, this was a stadium that I have extensively researched and studied. I extensively went into a research mode about 2023, excuse me, and culminating in 2024 when I, culminating in 2024 when I researched the area, researched the whole landscape, studied its topography, studied its levels, studied the actual location of the stadium itself, and learned a lot about the history of it, research of it, reading up on it, and it's very fun, very interesting. I've collected remaining samples and stuff that is still at the ballpark itself. It's no longer Memorial Stadium, but it's the Memorial Stadium at the Y. And it is a ballpark that Um, was demolished in 2001, finished to a rubble in 2002, with a lot of its parts being recycled and taken on to the next place and used as a coral reef. Most of it is located now in most of it is used now in what's it called, in the Chesapeake Bay as a coral reef for oysters. Um, I think a lot of the rubble, I know the rebar was probably repurposed, but this is a stadium that is not, I would say, well documented, in my honest opinion. You run across a couple of ballparks that is well documented, and this isn't one of them. This isn't one that um, manages to find itself be on the level of a Yankee Stadium or a not to the level of a Yankee Stadium or a Ebbets Field or something like that. It's up there, but it is a stadium that most people, most newer generations in Maryland, Baltimore, don't necessarily know the previous historical versions of this ballpark. Don't know what led to this. Don't know about the other five Oriole parks and such. So it's a ballpark that that honestly is the mecca to the sports world and the modern sports world. There would be no Ravens in Baltimore, no Orioles if it wasn't for this stadium, if it wasn't for Old Oriole Park burning down the way it did. There would be none of that. There would be no um, sports today as we know it. This stadium here is so vital and so efficient to the movement known as the Baltimore sports world that you get nothing if you don't have this stadium. This stadium is very essential to the modern world, the modern sports world, and the way Baltimore um, has come about. It is, and most of the people who have been on my streams know that this is by far one of my most favorite stadiums of all time. Um, I love this stadium more than Camden Yards. Maybe because of the championships that was won here. There's been only two AFC championship games that has ever happened in Baltimore. And it happened in two stadiums. One was M&T Bank Stadium. The other one was Memorial Stadium. One led to a win that left to the Colts winning Super Bowl V. The other one left to a loss. And so that's where that is at. And the significance of the history of all these things is lost nowadays, and it's very unfortunate. But it is something that that I have taken a lot of personal research in and a lot of favoritism in, and gone on this very gracious journey to discover everything. I've been down there at least twice this year. To discover its terrain, what's left. There are still some remnants of this stadium left. It's not all gone. And it is a beautiful note to see just how lovely it is that it has stood the test of time and is at its at its level. Now, what I would like to do when doing this is I am going through the final touches of this. I don't want to neglect anything. And right now, I just went from 96% to 99%, which is unfortunate in all of this. But, there has to be some sort of give or take and in this. And so I have... That's interesting. I did not add this seating level. So let me go save this as it is, and then go back in and take a look at what trees I can add and all that type of stuff. I think at 96, I can probably add a little bit more than what I have right here. Well, one of the most unique things about coming back into doing this is my final go around, and I want to make sure that I have the right templates to do everything right in, and to make sure that everything is good and prosperous in this version of the stadium that I want to do. And so this is as good as a square as you're probably going to get, um, more than likely. And so I'm just going to leave it at that. And should I guess I should add the guardrails. See what I can get with the guardrails here. But I have other stadiums in which I would like to go on and continue with. But the thing in which I tend to do, one that I like to do, is that I don't like to, and I think it's my fault of my own, to build a stadium that when I first get the game, I initially start it and I do it, and um, I don't get to go back to master what I'm working on or what I'm accomplishing. And I get on and I do other stadiums, and the other stadiums are so great and so good that I neglect the ones that I first started. And the ones that I first started are obviously a lot better than the ones that did not get that touch. And so I when I get the time to, I like to do everything right and never come back to them. So when MLB The Show 25 comes out, if these stadiums are ported over, these ballparks are ported over, they can just be easily downloaded, and I just move on and do other stuff. Um, that's my piece. That's what I would like to do. I just would like to move on and do other things, and always keep this stadium as a place in my heart, as something of a significance in here. I guess other people in this state will love it. They will love it until the Orioles give their fans a reason to love Camden Yards. This is the last ballpark that has seen a baseball professional championship. Oriole Park 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and Memorial Stadium all saw them. Camden Yards has seen none. And I hope that changes soon. But, when you look at a ballpark and a stadium and you look at the significance of why people love what they love, why they go for what they go for, I hope so too. Phil, good to hear from you. I hope so too. I hope that I truly hope that there is some sort of, I really hope that there's some happy medium that can be met where um, I would like to change certain things, edit certain things, but if I can keep the ballparks and update them, so be it. But I just don't. I truly tell you something, Phil, and I'm gonna tell you what scares me. Literally scares the piss out of me about this game is that this game and its current engine is grandfathered in from MLB The Show 23, MLB The Show 21, MLB The Show 17, 18. Like, so I feel like if you change one simple thing, it's going to mess up everything. I frankly, I frankly just don't, I don't know. I know like this isn't running on like the exact engine that is powerful enough for a PlayStation 5 to or an Xbox Series X to take advantage of. And that to me is kind of concerning. I would love to see this thing in, yeah, and that's crazy. Like with the bullpens being stuck on the field, it just seems that like what's going to happen is that there's no moving that you can't move this batter's eye and you can't move the bullpen. And that to me is, I don't know, like that to me is a little tricky dicky because it's almost as if like it's like a Jenga board. You know what I mean? It's like the way they programmed everything. It's like a Jenga board. It's like Jenga blocks, and if you move one out the way, the whole thing falls apart. I'm very curious as to see what they do for um this thing. But the problem I find with their stuff is that they are very secretive about what they do. They're very tight to the chest, and that to me is going to be see, their biggest change that they said they wanted to work with this year was the whole Diamond Dynasty stuff and the card stuff. So, I I would love to see them work with an engine that is going to, come in and, make it look like that Konami game, that Konami baseball game that's in Japan, or update something like make it look alive. This current state of video games as a whole, in my honest opinion, I'm just lost at because everybody coming up to this thought PS5 was the one. That's the one where you're going to get all the 8K stuff, and then they came out with PS5 Pro, and I'm like, PS5 Pro is weird, and it's just, I mean, you got to pay $700 for a console that's, you have to pay $700 for a console that, most TVs aren't even updated to. It's a little weird. I don't. I just would love to edit the ballparks the way I would like to edit them and make them. You know, I will say like after all these years of messing with the concrete, I now know that the concrete blends into the original default concrete, and I can just make things look hilly like that. But you can't do parking spots or parking spaces like that. Yeah, I just feel like the big change is that they're gonna go back because they've been talking about doing this whole like um, Diamond Dynasty thing, making that seem right and good in the world, and then then they're just going to focus on everything else. But I don't know what that means. I don't know what that implies. It's just crazy to like hold your whole like thing hostage. Um, it's just crazy to hold your whole entire progress to next gen hostage because you are still trying to make games for PlayStation 4 players. It's just weird. It kills the memory sometimes, and if it doesn't do that, what it will do is it will create lag, which they never patched. I hope not, man. I mean, I hate to crap on my PlayStation 4 brothers and sisters, but it's like, bro, I'm telling you, if you guys are that hard up to play next gen, I would just go out and get a Series X. Series X never went out of sale. They never went out of. They never got what's it called? Scalped or anything like that in this time. And I would just go and just get a Series X and just roll with that because I'm not upgrading for that PlayStation Pro thing. That PlayStation 5 Pro thing is a joke. No offense to people who no offense to people who at Sony, but to come out with a console that is, I would say, to come out with a console that is um, about 4 years later only to enhance the stuff that you were holding back from when the original one came out, to then make a model of um, to then make a newer, sleeker model, and then say, oh, well, if you don't have the disc version, here's what you can do. Like, you can go and buy an add-on of the disc version for that. I mean, like, I had this discussion a long time ago, and like I have these discussions now about stuff. Like my overall issue is like, when is enough enough? You know what I mean? It's like there was a long time ago, like when you came out with a newer console or something like that, like it had to be an upgrade, like a huge premium upgrade over like what you were going out to get to begin with. And it just seems like now that's not the case anymore. It's more so about now like getting like just getting stuff to just get it. And I mean, how many people in the households have 8K TVs? You know what I mean? And if you're really watching it, like to what extent do you go and oh well, see, there you go. See that? It's the lag for you. So yeah, it's weird stuff like that. Like I think like I don't know if you said it, Phil, or somebody else, but I'll leave it at this, and I'll say it like this. I'll piggyback, or as the in better slang, they call it tailing. I'll tail what you said either months ago or something like that. It may have been you, it may have been somebody else, but whatever. I think what they should do is I think they should go out and hire another company to work on this stadium building thing and format it and, unglitch it, work out all the kinks, get everything going come day one, and they focus on the game. And that's just it. And get somebody to come in and, work on things like that so that stuff can look a little bit more presentable, a little bit better, and just leave it at that because like it sincerely cannot go on the way that it does. And to sit up here and figure out like why weird things happen, like um why certain things can't go towards like for example, like this. Like no not only does this take up a lot of memory, but this right here is not the signboard. But this right here is good all the way up until you get to here, which is fine, you know. But like last year you had um like this. Okay, this is good right here. This is good right here. This is okay. This isn't okay. A long time ago in MLB to show 21 and 22, 23 before 23 as well. Like this could come close up to this and you wouldn't have a problem. I could use these all day every day for this and you can't use this at all. It's like there's certain rules and parameters that were made that I'm not going to say made by novices, made by amateur people, but they were made, I guess, to say, hey, look, like we're going to throw this new mode in. Uh, we'll deal with it when we get to it. And if there's a problem, we'll get to it. We'll deal with it when we get to it. And like it's never been addressed or paid attention to. Like it just doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of rules that are written in the programming of this thing that like it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't vibe. There's no rhyme or reason as to why certain things exist the way it exists. Like if I go in and I play a classical ballpark that's already been made by them, and you see like the scenery and stuff, like they have buildings already met, they already buildings already built, all this stuff's already planted out there, made and everything. You're good to go, and you're copacetic and you're cool. But like, why don't I get that option to do that? Like, why don't I have the option to make that happen in my stuff? Why is it that, if I add one more grass hill, I have an issue of, running into difficulties trying to plant my stuff or lag that happens or anything like that. There's just, You know, they put all this stuff in the game for you to build something with, but like, what good is it if you can't do anything with it? You know, fire hydrants, stop lights, stop signs, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like it's like, what's the use? What's the point? There's literally no method to the madness. Yeah, and there used to be orange. There actually used to be orange. I remember there used to be orange windows and walls. There used to be green, blue, and all that type of stuff, and you don't even have that now. It's like what is going on? That stuff needs to be sorted out. You know, all that stuff needs to be addressed and figured out and sorted out to where, like, you know, I have no problem being limited in what I'm being limited in, but when it's certain things that don't make any sense, like I can't, you know, I just can't do it. You know, like they had the clock tower in here for Camden Yards, then they took the clock tower out in 2022, and they don't tell nobody anything, they don't update anything. It's just that's frustrating. It's like their whole entire focus this year was just, Diamond Dynasty. And this is ultimately, like, in my last stream, like, this is why I keep trying to beat this point home over and over and over again. It's like, we need to grow as a community. And, the requests and stuff that people give are nice, and the requests and stuff are good. Like, don't get me wrong. But right, right. They don't adjust. They don't do anything like that. They just sometimes works and sometimes they don't. And that's why, in my honest opinion, like, we as a community, we have to become a massive community in size, as opposed to, the community in which we are now, which is very far and few in between. That's the problem that's going on, and they just don't take our requests or anything that we do seriously. I feel like the batter's eye and the permanent staying bullpens are there for just keeping the game together, because if they weren't together, they would just fall apart. And it's just, to me, it's like, it just sucks. Like I would like to. It's like out of the park baseball, OTTP. Like, people build custom ballparks in there all the time. I mean, granted, it's not like the other stuff, but like it works to a certain degree. And here it's just limiting. You know, the only other option I have is to build a live model, which would take a boatload of time. Um, but like I said before, I say it again, the fact that I'm able to pull off what I pull off in this game is unbelievable. Because a lot of times it's like, I don't know what I can accomplish. You know, I'll do it again once I'm done building this, which more than likely it looks like I am. I'll go back in there and do it. Not a problem to me. I got none but time. My only other thing I do is work and check out my Sabermetrics memberships. That's pretty much it for me. So it's like they don't have state flags. I told them a long time ago. I said, "Can you guys please, like, put state flags in there?" I don't understand, like, why it's like that. I don't know if it's a copyright thing or if it's a personal license thing, an artistic license. I don't know. It's really weird, like, why they don't. It's just practice. To me, honestly, like it's seriously, it's to the point where you just sit down and you're like, with me when I started building this stuff, it was like, okay, like I have a lot of material that I want to use, but I can't use it. What can I do? And I know that parking spots and parking spaces take up a good bulk size worth of stuff. Like, what can I do with that? And how can I work that into my plans? And then it's like, if I don't have, a neighborhood to do, like, what can I do and to incorporate that and a lot of stuff. And a lot of people who used to build this stuff back in the day, say back in the day, like it was maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, if you go to their YouTube accounts, you realize that like they've all quit. It gets bothersome, it gets tiresome, it gets strenuous, and they just move on and like do other stuff. And or they used to do requests because they realized they were taking a lot of time, and then people didn't want to take requests to do ballparks and stuff anymore. And that's ultimately where everything goes. And and those types of things led to people just dipping out and just leaving it as it is. But it's fun. It just takes a lot of studying. I think like once people understand that like this line of building is no different than building a model stadium. That's just the mindset you got to go in with. Like if you go in with this mindset that like, I have chunks of plastic, I have paper mache, shrubs, greens, all that type of stuff. What can I do to make it work? And you'll just build it. And, just realize that like a lot of stuff that you're going to build is going to be inconvenience. The batter's eye is going to screw up stuff. And if you just stay true to that, then you can just build whatever you want. When it comes to building custom stadiums, like created ones, I don't do them that often. But one thing I did learn by doing it is that when you're not like when you're not held to certain things, such as, okay, when I'm working on Ebbets Field, like I need to work on Ebbets Field because it needs to match this, and that. You have a complete blank slate. So it comes down to like, what am I going to use now what am I going to use now to help my case, to help me build what I want to do? And I tell people who, when they used to come into my stuff, I tell people all the time, like, listen, like what you need to do is the following. Like, go look at stadiums that work. Go look at ballparks that have been built in real life. Look at concepts and all those types of things and see what works. And then go and apply that to the ballparks you're building. And then it will be very simplistic. It will make sense to you. It will look more appealing to people. Go look at like the concepts that are being done now. Look at like what's in now. And if you want to make classic ones, look at classic ones and extract that. You'll find that like most of your creative ballparks, when you do that, are literally in the same vein of what people do when they want to build ballparks in real life. They look at what works. They look at Yankee Stadium. They look at Camden Yards. And then Camden Yards will do it as they're now starting to get into this whole, like, we're building like a fan thing and all this type of stuff. They're starting to get into it. And they go into, well, what works? What do we have here that works well? What do we have here that we can use? Okay, well, in Denver, so-and-so's doing this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. Let's build it like that. And then that's how it gets fun. I learned my lesson when this is my final build of this thing. But like my lesson to come back and do this right is that I usually go and I do all the other ballparks, and I always neglect this one because this is the first one I like to get out the way. But then I find myself coming back like 10, 11, 12 times, building this thing every single year. And me personally, like I don't, I'm hoping and praying that this thing transfers over to MLB Show to 25, and it just updates itself, and all I got to do is work some kinks out if need be, and that's it. Because I really would not want to do this thing from scratch. I love it. It's one of my favorite ballparks ever. It's one of my favorite stadiums ever. If I had a chance to go tomorrow and see a game here, I would do it in a heartbeat. But to build it 50, 60 times, nah, I'm tired. I am doofully tired. But it's a good mode. It's a great mode. I just wish that it was done by people who can give it a little bit more love and a little bit more attention to what it is. Because, it just seems to me like this was a mode that this year, I will say, I'm not going to be negative. I will say this year, this mode started getting assets in it that really appeal to the building community. It started appealing to like people who wanted to build classic ballparks, or people who wanted to build stuff more based in realism than some alien stuff or some Godzilla stuff, more buildings and things like that. So I give them credit for that. But gotta build on it. They gotta build on it. You gotta get it to a point where people can actually go into this thing and make it. I truly will say this. This is my parting thing because I know I'm running off a lot. I like to get out of here, get to the gym at some point. I will say this. Like, this is a mode that, for all it's worth and for what it's worth, this is a mode that has already found its niche. It's a niche of people who are good at building this stuff. They want to build this stuff. They want to build classic ballparks. They want to build classic stadiums. They want to make it as close as possible to the most realistic versions possible, to make time pieces, time era sensitive pieces, and things such as that. I would start appealing this towards the masses who enjoy making those types of things. And the people who don't, that are the kid-friendly crowd, the kid-friendly crowd is not going to legitimize this mode. They're just not. You've had about 3 years, going on 4 years worth of proof and evidence that has been brought in to show you that the kids usually make inappropriate stuff, like the whole 9/11 playing in the Twin Towers thing. and that they need to seriously get to a point where you have a come to Jesus moment and you say, this is who this mode is for. This is who wants to build in this mode, and make it where everything is fully customizable. Make it where everything can be done. If online is a problem, because I feel like ultimately everything circumvents around Diamond Dynasty. I'm here to say most people who play Diamond Dynasty don't even care about this mode. Don't even care about this mode. It is so far past their comprehension or care, they don't even acknowledge it. So I would stop making this mode for Diamond Dynasty mode. That's another thing I would stop doing. Stop doing it for them, and build it for people who will make this offline mode and all those types of things, and they'll be okay with building it for that, and just go on with that and just build it for those types of people. Because I have no problem doing an all customizable thing and just sitting up here and just building this thing from scratch. and looking at something and cutting it down from 23 to 24 seats, or uploading team logos and uploading, customizable this and customizable that. I truly feel like a lot of its limitations stems from the fact that like they want to keep their toe dipped in the pool of Diamond Dynasty. And like I said before, I say it again. People in Diamond Dynasty don't care about Stadium Builder. They don't. I've seen enough YouTubers. I see enough YouTubers, enough Twitch people, enough all of them who literally time and time again don't even know where the mode is and wouldn't find it if you paid them to. Start appealing to people who are of your stadium building community. That's it. If you can get that, then everything's going to be everything, and everything's going to be cool. But, this other stuff, just wasting your time. And that's just it. Like, and there needs to be something that seriously needs to make sense as to what triggers more memory than others, because like to sit up here and to like keep going back and forth as to like what kills the memory and what doesn't, like it's just weird. That's just what they need to do. Just figure out like who does this mode appeal to? Who should this mode appeal to? Why should it appeal to it? And just go with it. You got your franchise crowd that loves to play franchise, and sometimes they blend over in the stadium building community, but not that much. You have your roster building community, you have them, and they kind of intermesh with one another. But it is a certain lock that like that Diamond Dynasty community, they don't touch this. And most of them who do, like, they'll throw together some XP farming thing and go into superstar mode and, use some XP stuff to, like, build their superstar up, and that's it. But it's not, like, of any significance or any importance that's going to, like, move the needle. Yeah, those are generally creative parts. Um, I used to be franchise. I used to be Diamond Dynasty. But then when I realized I could play my now I'm the type of player who would do Diamond Dynasty and do Diamond Dynasty and do stadium building, because I want to see my stadiums being built in Diamond Dynasty mode and stuff like that. But once I started like understanding that like a lot of people would come to me when I was building them in 22 and 23, and they would be like, hey, are you building this ballpark for Diamond Dynasty? And I would legitimately, after I'd be done with this stadium, for example, if I was done with this stadium, for example, I would make another ballpark and customize it for Diamond Dynasty. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Like I'm building two stadiums. I'm not getting any recognition from this. I'm not getting any word of mouth. I'm not getting any accolades, anything like that being passed on. Like, no, I'm start building stuff that I want to build for me. And if it attracts people, it's going to attract people. And doing things like that just makes your life a lot easier, makes you a lot happier. You don't have to sit up here and keep trying to figure out how to do stuff and all that stuff. I go out now, I research my stadiums, I, look at stock photos, videos, everything to try and get stuff accurate, look at models and stuff. And that's how you get to this version here. My favorite version, the 1983 version, a version in which they won the World Series in, not the 1991, which most people like, with the two scoreboards and stuff like that. Now, if I were to do that, and I could do that, um, I probably could, but It's just that, I'm only limited to what I can build. And they say in this game, like, you build, uh, if I was smart, and I say that ironically, if I was smart, what I would do is I would build this ballpark with the peripheral view from the end of each upper deck onward. If I did that, I more than likely would probably be at 67%. I would have all the interior designed. I would cut the memorial facade off and just leave with the brick level up because you're not going to see past that. And then everything would be detailed from the ballpark up the slope and outward. But the way I like to build stuff is I like to push stuff to its furthest limit. And I know for a certain fact, if I were to get rid of this street level right here, so let me save this first and see how much memory I can save by doing this. Let me get rid of this tree. Let me save. See what I got a little bit of time to kill. It's about 6:56. Save this because I don't want to screw up anything and do anything. Let's get rid of all this. So we're at 99, 98. We'll see what takes up the bulk of this. 98, 99, 99, 99, 99. So we're looking at 3% here. 3%. 3%. 3%. 3%. 3%. 4%. So we're looking at 4% memory that would be here if I took this off. And yeah, it looks ugly. You're not going to be able to execute it the way you want to execute it. So just leave things the way I leave it. Come back in, address it. I think this version is good for what I intended to because I got a younger version that I would like to build off of that and then just go forward with that. And then you can make more stuff. But I don't like, my criticism is that there are more ballpark builders out here who like to build with the intentions to have their exterior shown because ultimately the exterior makes the identity of the stadium that you're in or ballpark that you're playing in. Like, that's just the facts. And I found that brick takes up the most memory. Brick takes up the most memory here. And that's just the way that goes. Like, it takes up the most memory, and I just don't understand like why things take up so much memory. Like, why is it only 99%? Why couldn't it be 199% or something like that? And you never get an explanation. But it's just weird. That's just it for me. Like, it's just weird. So I like keeping this detail back here because ultimately I am going to have, if you go through here, this is intricately set up to be an add-on, have all the fencing, all that stuff added to it. You can see the shade and the brick exterior and all that stuff, and you see the piping. So you can see the street level through here. I'm going to see if you can see it through. There's certain walls in which you can see it through. You can see like the building, the trees right there, but you're not going to see everything. You're not going to see everything extensively, but this is the best I could do. This is good. I've come a long way to build this stuff to try and get it as good as possible to satisfy the masses. But you know, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through. I'm going to pick stuff apart, see what I can add, see what I can do. Um, Obviously, it's going to be a little bare boned because of the memory usage, but some of these trees and everything are not there today. In fact, there's probably more of them now. This was an earthen built stadium. This was on the plotted land of an earthen built stadium at the time, and dug out and built in. So all the slopes in here have been remastered, remeasured, rebuilt to match every single ounce of what you would see if you were to drive on a property right now. Now, although this stadium is razed to the ground and gone, one of the things that remains very, 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 very familiar is the sloping. So this slope up here is filled in accurately. The slope goes up all the way here, goes up on this parking lot and everything right there. I'm not going to bother adding cars because you know what? The parking lots are not to my liking. I don't like the parking lots, the way the parking lots are. But you know what? Like, you can't do anything about it, so it is what it is. You just count your losses and you just keep it pushing from that. So I'm going to make a video of this, and then I'm going to get out of here and get my butt to the gym. Phil 44, I will say, as this year is coming to an end, it's not over with yet. I've got about 29 more days to go. But it is a pleasure having you stop by here. It is a pleasure having Stu 21, also known as Stadium Center, come through here, as well as a lot of people who come through here to still check in, still say hello. You guys are my favorites, and talk stadiums and stuff like that. To anybody else who used to come through here, still don't come through here anymore, it's fine. It's okay. Life goes on. You guys give me a purpose to continue doing this stuff and check in like usual. It's much enjoyable. Thank you guys so much for stopping through this year, and you guys have built successful YouTube accounts yourself. I'm not worried about myself, to be honest with you. Like, it is what it is. I'm glad that this community is getting the life that it needs. It needs more builders, more people to give this thing attention, more people to give it life, and that's how you grow what you're going to grow. And this is amazing. So I will check you guys next time. I will more than likely be on here periodically building new ballparks and stuff like that. I just wanted to take a step back to memory lane and work on one that started it all. So this is that, and that is this. So it's cold out here. Gonna burn some calories. You guys take care of yourselves. Be easy. Be good, and I'll catch you guys around. Peace.